Okay, let's just get right into it. When it comes to AI and the world of architecture, the conversation has completely changed. I mean, the last year alone has been a seismic shift. We've gone from talking about theory to seeing it used everywhere. The time for just waiting and seeing, that's over.
And the numbers? Well, they really tell the story. Right now, 59% of architecture practices are actively using AI. This isn't some niche trend for the super techie firms anymore. This is the new normal.
But here's what's really wild. It's the speed of this whole thing. Just a year ago, that number was sitting at 41%. Jumping all the way to 59%, that right there is the tipping point. We've officially crossed over from, that's interesting, into a full-blown adoption wave.
So let's be real about what's driving this. It's not about playing with cool new toys anymore. For firms all over, using AI has become a matter of competitive necessity. It's about being more efficient, staying relevant, and honestly, it's about survival.
But this massive rush isn't happening in a vacuum. Underneath all these impressive stats, there's this deep anxiety, a real crisis of trust. You can basically break it down into what I'm calling the triple threat of fear. First up, an absolutely staggering 94% of architects are worried about the accuracy of what AI spits out. I mean, just think about that. Almost every single professional is deeply concerned that this tool everyone's pushing might just be flat out wrong. That's a huge liability. And if you thought that was high, this second threat is exactly the same. Another 94% are worried about unintended consequences. This is bigger than just a wrong calculation. It's about the ripple effects, the unknown risks to public safety and welfare down the line. That fear of the unknown is a really big deal. And rounding out our triple threat, right there at 93%, is this anxiety over privacy and security. I mean, it makes sense, right? How are you supposed to protect your firm's designs or your client's sensitive info when you're plugging it all into some third-party AI? And I want to be super clear here. These are not irrational fears. This isn't just people being resistant to change. These are professional survival instincts kicking into high gear. When your actual license is on the line, when your reputation depends on precision, these concerns aren't just rational. They are absolutely necessary. So this brings us to the real heart of the issue, what you could honestly call a liability time bomb. There's this massive, dangerous gap that's opened up between how many people are using AI and how they're actually learning to use it safely. And this chart just says it all. 2/3 of full 66% of architects using AI are completely self-taught. They're just figuring it out as they go, trial and error with no structured training. That's creating this huge knowledge vacuum in the industry. And let's be really direct about what that means. People aren't learning this in some safe, controlled sandbox. Nope. They're learning on live client projects with real money and real consequences on the line. And they're often doing it without any kind of formal system to even check if the AI's output is correct. The potential for risk here is just enormous. So, okay, with all that risk and fear swirling around, you might be wondering, how are firms actually using AI day to day? Let's get down to the ground truth, because what's really happening might just surprise you. All the hype you see online is about creating these mind-blowing, complex images and exploring crazy new designs. But the reality? For most practices, it's way more practical. The real action is happening with things like writing proposals and doing administrative work. Yeah, firms are focusing on what you might call low-invasive tasks. A massive 79% are using AI to help draft proposals and emails. And why? It's simple. It cuts down on those non-billable hours, that administrative drag, and it frees architects up to do the actual design work that brings in money. But don't mistake practical for low impact, because when we look at the more advanced stuff, the financial payoff is huge. Using generative design for things like building modeling can lead to potential construction cost savings of up to 15%. I mean, that is a massive return on investment. Now, this AI-driven advantage, it's not being spread out evenly across the country, not at all. The adoption and all the competitive pressure that comes with it is getting really concentrated in a few specific geographic hot zones. And the data tells us exactly where that pressure is building. Take New York City. The interest there is just off the charts. Architects are searching AI topics at a rate of 333 per 10,000 people. Meanwhile, California is leading the entire country in actual adoption.
If your practice is in one of these areas, that competitive gap isn't just getting wider, it's accelerating fast. So you take all of this, the crazy fast adoption, the very real fears, the liability risks, the competitive heat, and you put it all together. What it points to is a really clear strategic mandate. It tells us exactly what the profession needs to do to move forward without blowing itself up.
And I can tell you what architects don't need right now. They do not need another tutorial on how to make pretty pictures. We're past that. The conversation has grown up. The challenges now are about operations, ethics, and the law. So the path forward, the real solution, is built on three key things that directly attack that triple threat of fear we talked about. Architects need clear governance frameworks for how to use AI. They need solid validation protocols to make sure it's accurate. And they need real, concrete risk mitigation strategies to protect their practice. Which really just leaves us with one last critical question that every firm leader needs to be asking themselves. As you're navigating this completely new world, are you actively managing AI with a real strategy? Or is the lack of one letting AI silently manage a risk for you?